smoking, it's a revolution. Shots to your head, it's an execution. It's being us versus the corrupt. Red dot, put a cross to your head. Let the Lord interrupt. Gun smoking, it's a revolution. Shots to your head, it's an execution.
Woo!
Boom.
What is going on, Liberty Goons?
We are back with episode number 23, and this is our election night preview, Don Welch. Election night preview. We are approximately 21 days away, or sorry, 21 days away, not 31 days. 21 days away. And things are getting hot and heavy. Like,
It's episode 23. That means we have to Jordan dunk this son of a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Throw me the lob and take one in. You know what I mean? Come on. Let's go.
I love it. This episode, like many other episodes, is brought to you by 2A Watch Company. Ding, 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 ding. 2A Watch Company delivers fashionable and practical watches that embody the three pillars of their company: God, freedom, and country. Go grab your watches at 2awatchcompany.com. Follow them over on Instagram at 2A Watches. Also, shout out to one of Don and I's favorite companies, HRT Tactical, for this rack plate carrier that we got going on here. This is what, number 3 on the show, I think.
Yeah,
number 3 on the show.
HRT, Chris. Hopefully you'll be talking to me soon, brother.
This one's the next one up. That's the L back hanging up back there. So that'll be the next one. Anyway, Don, let's jump into the news. I feel like we just filmed a few days ago, but we already have like lots of shit going on.
I know. Every time, brother. Every time.
Yeah.
I feel like election season, it is impossible to just run out of holy shit, what's going on moments.
I had to stop when I was putting this list together. Like there was so much to throw on here that I was eventually like, man, I got to stop. We'll go about 45 minutes on just news updates. Man, so supposedly another human being is trying to take Trump's life. Assassination attempt number 3, allegedly.
Well, the other ones were definitely assassination attempts. So
the number 3 is allegedly.
Yeah, let's get that very clear.
Yeah, let's clear that up. So this guy, his name's Vem Miller. That is not his born name. I believe it's something Armenian. I wouldn't even know how to pronounce it if I had it in front of me. So this guy gets through the first perimeter. That's about, I believe they said it was about a quarter mile out. And then at the second perimeter, he gets stopped by the Riverside County sheriffs and supposedly has fake credentials, fake VIP passes, and fake press credentials. He also has a shotgun and a pistol. As well.
Unregistered with a large magazine.
Unregistered with a large magazine. Supposedly, the plates on the vehicle were fake. I don't know how you make fake ones. Maybe the wrong ones or stolen ones, but fake, I don't know. And then he also had multiple documents, passports, and driver's licenses on him. Now, on the face of this sounds pretty fucking bad, right? Like, it sounds pretty fucking bad.
Well, I mean, when I first heard it, I was like, oh my God. I was like, what in the fuck is going on? I was like, nobody's doing their job to try to protect Trump. I mean,
right?
It's like they let him get so far in. I mean, the other guy, it's like, 200 yards, 600 yards. That's like, you keep letting people get so close to this person. I just don't understand it. But this one's interesting, so I can't wait for us to kind of break down this one.
Yeah, so this one's interesting. So this guy Vem Miller happens to be a self-proclaimed libertarian, and he did a uh, interview on Fox News. I believe it was last night, but he ran for a delegate seat in Nevada. He drove in from Las Vegas, I believe it was. He ran as a Republican. Claims to now be a libertarian. Um, he also runs a libertarian podcast, and I believe appears on other libertarian podcasts, and is
Well, you just basically just gave him a shout out right there.
right.
Now now everybody's gonna go rush over there to go see what this fucker's talking about.
It is. I have no problem saying it's called the America Happens podcast or American Happens Network, um, and is a self-proclaimed Trump supporter. Um, so there's a lot of shit here that just doesn't make sense. Once again, another situation that doesn't fucking
Doesn't
make
make
sense. Now, what is this all going to shake out as? I don't know. Was it overzealous, police officers that, kind of put some of this stuff together? Was it they did put all this stuff together, but it actually doesn't add up to what we think it adds up to? Or was there something else afoot here?
I mean, they let him go after like what 24 hours.
Well, it's
anyways.
California.
Oh, that's true too.
If he could have murdered Trump, they would have let him go after 24 hours.
Shit, they probably would have fucking put a statue up for him too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to obviously get into the firearms thing because, like, one way or another,
Yeah.
you and I don't even believe that anybody should be arrested for something like that, and that's what he was arrested for.
I mean, as long as he's an American citizen, I do
Right.
not think me and people are going to disagree with me in the Second Amendment, place. But I don't think that any illegal immigrant should be able to own a fucking weapon in the United States. No way. I just don't. But you're not an American.
They're not
You don't
the
pay
people.
Yeah, you're not part of our Constitution. You shouldn't. You don't have that right. Now, also, I'm also the same person that thinks like, hey, if you've never had if you have a felony, you should still be able to own a gun as long as the felony isn't in due to violence.
Yep. Or really gun violence. I mean, you and I talked about this before, where the point of the justice system is that we say that if you are allowed out of prison and you no longer are on parole or any of those things, you have served your debt to society for whatever the crime is that you committed. Now,
point blank, period. If you're an American,
if you're an American, and
if you're an American,
and you didn't use a firearm to commit whatever crime it was, like the guy that I'm not saying that any crime is good, but the guy that embezzles $10,000 from his company or something like that and goes and serves 2 years on a felony never gets to own a gun ever again. Or how about Donald Trump, who gets convicted of something that we all don't quite understand what it was? At worst, they pose it as like a hush money case, and now he can never own a gun for the rest of his life.
Well, that's going to get overturned.
Well, yeah, I'm not talking about that, but we're just talking about the situation.
Actually, that is something that we should talk about because they did have a pre-appeals. Did you see that?
Yes.
And then they basically, at the end of it, they were basically going after the state and was like, yo, like, you're lucky we don't sanction all of you lawyers for bringing this to us. Yeah. I was like, damn. And then the end of the argument, they were just like begging for them not to be sanctioned.
Yeah. We know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
Point being, that would be a felon. If it didn't go away, that would be a felon that for fucking dumbass shit doesn't get to own a gun again. So anyway, this is going to be an interesting one to play out. Mr. Van Miller is threatening to sue the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Um, we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Because
Honestly, I have no idea.
it's hard to tell, right? Because maybe it's just a dude, and he went back, and because I didn't even know this, you were the one telling me. He went back and was like, "No, all my credentials are real.
Correct.
They're underneath his actual real name, but he uses, whatever, a counter. Oh, I don't know what do you call that name? Like when authors have like a fake name. What do they call that?
Yeah, like a alias,
Nah,
an alias.
an alias. Yeah, an alias of some sort, right? Like that's his alias
Yeah,
name, but the credentials were actually under, I guess, his real name, right?
right. He
Is that
said
is that what
that.
they were saying?
Yeah, he said that he travels to places that um, him being Armenian would not be a good thing, which is why he keeps those second set of credentials. So,
Now, I will say this. I will say this. Most Armenians are conservative. Most Armenians are Christians, and most Armenians are really good people. Most Armenians. Like that's the vast majority of them. I think at first I think that the police did get overzealous on this one.
mm-hmm,
I think the guy probably checks out because otherwise they probably wouldn't have let him go in 24 hours, even if it is California. I think that he probably checks out. He's probably carrying firearms because he's a regular citizen just like me and you.
mm-hmm,
And the the sheriff's department made a mistake and they didn't know what to do with it. Trump's team got a hold of it. They were probably like, "What the fuck's going on?" Trump and them probably didn't have anything to they probably didn't know shit about it. And then next thing you know, boom, everybody's on high alert. Information comes out, and it ends up being a guy that's just he's probably a solid dude and probably looked after the wrong way. However, this is why gun laws are so fucking stupid for. And he lives in Nevada. He can go into Nevada and carry that weapon, no problem.
yep,
But as soon as he crosses that state line, now all of a sudden he's a felon.
yep,
So that's where you run into these insane issues for, and that's why we need to just the Supreme Court really needs to pick this up on the assault weapons bans and the magazine bans. And I know they're not assault weapons. I'm just saying that's what they call them. And these large capacity magazines, which they're not, they're standard capacity. The large magazine shit is just all liberal made up propaganda. That's not even a thing because nobody makes you make a 20 round magazine and then all of a sudden you punch a hole in it to make it 10. No, you're shortening the capacity. That's not the magazine that
mm-hmm,
belongs in. And even a pistol, there's the vast majority, I would say 98% of modern day pistols hold more than 10 rounds.
yeah. Well,
Even
the
your
only ones
even
that don't are the ones that are specifically made
in California
for
or for
California and New York and New
yeah,
Jersey.
exactly. Which those had to be specifically made for
Correct.
those states. So that just tells you right there that they just had some made up bullshit terminology. However, I think he probably does check out. I actually hope he checks out. Um,
Yeah, I
and
agree. I hope he checks out too. If he doesn't, and this is what it appeared to the police to be, then full breadth of the law taken down on him. I find it funny that the FBI came out right away and said that they are not considering this any sort of assassination attempt, like right away that day. Even though the
well,
sheriff was saying it was, the FBI was like, no, it's not.
someone could put one right between his eyes, and the FBI would
Right.
say there was an assassination attempt. So at that point, it doesn't even make a difference. I don't believe the FBI on a fucking word that they say. So,
I don't believe
and
any three
neither
letter agency.
and neither should you, audience, because they've lied to you guys for so fucking long. And the CIA, same way. I mean, JFK. I mean, go ahead and take 2 seconds googling that assassination. So
Right. Did you hear about this drone fleet that flew over a military installation?
I have not seen it. I saw it, I mean, obviously on our list, but I have not heard anything about
I
this.
guess I should have done this as a trigger warning since Don doesn't know
You
about it.
probably you probably should have, because I read that and I was like, wait, what?
So apparently, I believe this was back in April. Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. Um, for 17 days at sunset, a horde of drones flew over the military installation. And we're not talking DJI mini drones here. We're talking, they called them 20-foot drones.
So military drones.
Some sort of military drone.
Hmm.
They continued day after day to wonder why it was happening. Took no evasive measures at all. And
That's
just
crazy.
now released the information. And I'm sure it was probably brought to light by some sort of whistleblower that went to the press, and then the press got a hold of it, and then they had to comment on it. But nothing was said from April until now about
Of course.
20-foot drones flying over a and that base is and correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, you current military people, but I believe Langley is an air combat command base, which houses fighters, probably F-22s, F-35s, kind of state of the art equipment.
So my question to you is, who do you think it is?
I mean, if I was a bet man, I would say China.
Hmm.
I think Russia is too involved in the shit that they have going on to be flying 20-foot drones. If they had those 20-foot drones, they'd be using them in Ukraine right now. you
You
know,
know, you know what's weird? What's in Virginia?
there's a lot of shit in Virginia, bro.
What's the main thing you think
I
about
mean,
with the
CIA
Virginia?
and Langley.
But what else is in Virginia?
I don't know where you're going with this, bro. There's a lot of governmental shit in Virginia.
The White House,
The White House is in
right?
DC.
But DC, what? But that's Virginia.
No,
DC's in Virginia.
no, DC is its own thing. It's separated between Maryland and Virginia, and it's its own
But,
area.
but it's basically Virginia that DC's in, right?
No, it's split between Maryland and Virginia.
But I'm saying DC is not it is not a state. DC is the capital, right? But it's basically stuck it right in between the two places. So you're
Yeah.
like
The
Virginia's right
Potomac River
there.
goes right through it.
So I'm just saying you're right there.
Yes.
So it's like you you have the capital that's like boom right there,
Mhm.
and then you have Langley Air Force Base, and then you have all this governmental shit that's going on
All around.
right there,
Yes.
all around.
All of that
And
I
it's like,
agree with. 100% of that.
yeah, you know what I was getting at.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe I always say that DC is in Virginia because I don't know how else to explain it to anybody else. Because I'm like, yeah, it's basically in Virginia. I mean, that's the way I've always looked at it, even though it's not
not
in Virginia.
the Potomac River splits Washington D.C. basically in half, with half of it being in Maryland and half of it being in Virginia, which was actually done on purpose. We'll have a sidebar about that sometime. We'll go back in history for you, Don.
Anyways,
He's gonna
you know exactly.
He's gonna reach through the fucking computer right now and punch me in the face. Anyway,
I'm like, I was throwing a bar out there for you, and I'm like, you know what? But instead, you're like, it's not in DC. DC's not in Virginia. I'm like, okay, I know, but it's like right there.
oh my god, yes, it is very close to Langley, and therefore, drone activity in that general vicinity is probably not a good thing, no matter who's doing it or how they're doing it.
Agreed, and it probably is China.
Is that who you think it is?
Yeah, sure as fuck not Russia.
Do you think it's Virginia?
Or it could be Virginia. It could be the government.
Glenn Youngkin is sending drones over Langley.
No, I highly doubt that. It's probably China.
Yeah, it's probably China.
I mean,
When in doubt.
anytime anything happens to your cell phone, fucking, getting snatched up, banks getting snatched up, 99.9% of the time, anything to do with technology or important information that's getting stolen, it's going to be China.
I guess it could be the Iranians.
Mm,
They've got a lot of drone technology now.
you think they're flying drones all the way from over there in their flip flops,
No, but
or you think they're in America,
yeah,
or do you?
that's what I was getting at.
And actually, you know what? I mean, the border has been wide open,
Hmm.
so it could be. It could actually be somebody right here in America. It could be. I mean, yeah, actually, you know what? It very well could be some type of terrorist shit happening.
They wanted
I
to
mean,
see what we would do.
yeah, testing. It's kind of like China with the whole weather balloon shit. Flying over all of our military bases,
Hmm.
and um, so yeah, I mean that very well could be it.
Could be. So
Always my girl.
your girl, Kamala Harris. Did you see? This is side note from what I was actually going to talk about here, but did you see the Tucker episode the other night where he had on Harmeet Dillon
Elon? No.
and they were talking about like the history of Kamala Harris
Mm-mm. I didn't.
and how she has pronounced her own name both ways, Kamala and Kamala,
I saw her talking like she had a Mexican accent today. That I thought that was
and the
fucking
Jamaican one
hilarious.
the other day.
Yeah, and then Irish the other day.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What in the fuck is
Uh,
going on?
I highly
It's like
encourage
schizo.
I highly encourage you, Don, to watch that episode because it really digs deep into Kamala's past. Kamala's past. Um,
Kamala.
Camelot, Cackling Kamala. But anyway, the reason I really got on this track was that she has raised over 1 billion with a B since the last 3 months. How does that happen,
Yeah.
Don?
Foreign countries.
I'd say that's a that's a pretty good
Well,
idea.
I mean, we could just take a look at Mayor Adams.
Mm-hmm.
With the Turkish government.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You can look at Joe Biden with, China,
Ukraine.
Russia, Ukraine, and I can't remember all the other countries, but there's a shit ton. Um, you know, there's that.
This money,
Uh,
$1 billion, didn't come
I,
from
you
the
know what?
American people.
No, but also at the same time, I mean, now that they've seized all these homes in North Carolina, and her husband is a big investor in lithium, and now they're going to be putting all these lithium mines all over throughout North Carolina. They're going to be opening up new mines. Uh, I mean, who fucking knows, dude? Who knows? Probably some other country is probably like, "Yo, we need the lithium too." So like, open that shit up and send some to us, and here's a billy goat.
I think you're onto something there, Don.
Yeah. Especially lithium is extremely dangerous, and most countries don't want to dig it because it kills fucking half the half the people digging for it. So
Yeah,
there's that.
there is that.
Usually it's a bunch of children slaves that are digging it.
You know what's
So
funny, Don? You're probably right. Like they want to dig this lithium mine in North Carolina, and with all of the way we do our green deals and our EPA and all that, it would probably take them like 50 years to even mine anything out of it with all the regulations and shit.
yeah, but see, they're not going to focus on those regulations over there. They're going to just completely disregard that. They're going to completely disregard that shit. They probably have that's probably where there's 100,000 missing children now in America. That's getting sex trafficked. After that happens, they'll probably just drop them off at the lithium mine and let them start getting to work.
Wow. Please, people, do not take that as fact. That was an opinion by Don Welch.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
Oh, I don't put it past them.
I mean, who else is digging lithium mines? Oh, look at every single country in the world. It's all done by child labor.
Oh, exactly. 100% it is.
So what makes you think that the Democrats are going to do anything different? They're buying lithium from fucking child slavery anyways. So why not just go ahead and just import
What
slaves right?
what a what a fucking mess that would be if that was ever true.
No, they probably won't do that. But I mean, that's what they're buying it from, so it doesn't make any difference. They're the
No,
exact same thing.
it is the same thing. You're not wrong there. You are not wrong. The Democrats are just fucked. Period. Gretchen Whitmer,
Weird as shit.
weird as shit.
Holy fuck.
Weird as
Holy
shit.
fuck.
Don and I, you and I were on the phone the other day talking about this. I was appalled by this video with this feminist influencer where this influencer is on her knees with her tongue out, and Gretchen Whitmer is putting a Dorito on the tip of her tongue, a la Christian communion, Catholic communion. That is exactly what this scene looks like.
Yeah, and she's like the girl's like tied up like a
Yeah,
like a sex
she's
slave.
just kneeling there with her tongue out. And of course, Gretchen Whitmer is wearing a Harris Walz hat in the process of
Yeah.
doing this all. It was the creepiest, freakiest, weird shit I had seen in a long time. And how do they think they're winning over a voter base when they're openly,
Blasphemous.
blasphemously mocking the Christian religion?
Which the thing is like, you know, whether you American people hate it or not, because we've been flooded in by so many other cultures in the world now here. America is still vastly Christian, like
Yes.
vastly. It's the biggest religion in the United States.
Yep.
You know, or faith, whatever you want to call it. I know some people get upset about saying the word religion. Faith. It's the biggest faith in the United States still. So, you know, the thing about it, it's so satanic. It's like they're like pulling these things right in front of your face, and then nobody says anything about it. And Democrats, even Democrats who claim to be Christians, just give them excuses, and it's wild to me. And as a Christian, it's just like, oh, you're just buying your one-way ticket to hell.
I mean, that's what it is. And in the process is just so disgusting. Like, who, as Gretchen Whitmer, like, how do you even do that and go, this seems good. Like, I think this would be a funny thing to do. Like, how fucked are you in the head?
Because they're untouchable. They think that they're untouchable. They think that they are God.
Yeah.
That's the reason why.
Yeah.
They think that they literally think that they're God.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you're
where
right.
they like this is a prime example. Obama was just on like condemning men and saying like, oh, it's all your fault because it's all you black men's my brother's faults, because you know you don't think that a woman should be able to run for president because you guys are all misogynistic, blah 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 blah. And it's like, maybe, you know, maybe these people have a brain and they think for themselves, and maybe they look at their pocketbooks and say, well, I know I'm broke now, my family can't survive anymore, and we need to have change to go back to what we had when we were being prosperous in this country.
Mhm.
um, you know, and I think that they think they can just say whatever they want because Democrats will just eat it up regardless. And I also think that they have 13 states, or I think it's 13 states, or it's either 13 or it's 16 states now where they don't need to have voter ID. So they know that they're just going to cheat. And then if they can win this election, then in 4 years, all of those illegal immigrants that have just came in, they're going to turn into voters. and it doesn't matter what your vote is anyways,
Yep.
because they're going to want to stay here. So
Yep.
then you're fucked either way. So now you got, 20 million illegals taking your jobs at the end of the day. They're taking houses, they're taking your tax dollars, because they're all going to, the vast majority of them, I'm not saying all, but the vast majority of them will be on welfare. They're on welfare right now. The government's paying on average for every single illegal immigrant that's came in $9,000.
Mhm.
Okay. So, I mean, you do the math, that's over $1 billion of that money that's already been spent in this country. And they just don't care. They think that they are God. They think that they can manipulate the situation, and that you're stupid enough to believe them. Uh, because you are. We've already went through this demoralization period. And that demoralization period was COVID, where they told you to put a diaper on your face and you shut the fuck up and you listen to them. And then they put a bunch of, terrible shit into your body. And now people are dying from this, from heart complications and God knows what else. And we don't even know what the long term effects are from these vaccinations that you just decided to be a test dummy for. And you've went through the demoralization period of not talking to your friends and being on the internet and having these conversations back and forth. You were okay because during this whole entire time the Democrats basically blocked anything that was conservative or of value, to where it would piss you off to be saying, hey, no, enough of this shit, you're not going to control my life on social media, because that's exactly what they did.
Mhm.
And then they blocked all the news and information from you to, like, give you an alternative viewpoint. And you've been demoralized, and now you're a slave to the system, and you're going to shut the fuck up and you're going to pay your taxes because you're a good little bitch. And that's exactly what the Democrats think of you. And if you vote for them, that's exactly what you are. So, and that's why they think that they're God, and doing communion to some stripper, with her Kamala Walz fucking camo hat on, to think that, they're they're gun people or some shit. It's wild. It's fucking bizarre to me.
Speaking of gun people,
I already know what you're going.
speaking of gun people,
I wish we had the video to show right now. Holy shit.
my guy, Tim Walz. Tim Walz balls. This
Uh,
fucking guy, man. Mr. Gun Guy. He is out hunting. Looking like Fudd, right? Looking like Elmer all the way. Like the side by sides that have come out since this, and his orange getup, his orange and brown getup next to Elmer Fudd pictures is fucking hilarious. He can't figure out how to load his shotgun that he supposedly has had for a long time and hunts all the time with it.
well, and he also said that he was a better shot than he said. Oh, if Vance thinks he's better than I am and wants to battle me about AR-15s, I bet you I can outshoot him with a shotgun. Dude, you can't even load a shotgun. Shut the fuck up. And you're calling parts on the shotgun the wrong fucking things. The wrong things. He's like
It was a
explaining
disaster.
to he's explaining to a reporter, like, what, like, a recoil pad is, like, butt pad. And he's like using the incorrect terminologies that are on shotguns in the first place. And it's like not making any sense. But the wild thing is, he's like, oh yeah, it protects my shoulder. It's like, what? Like, my guy. It's like, it's so stupid. It's like, yeah, it's making the recoil less because there's a spring in the recoil system that's not, so it's not hitting you as hard, and it's taking some of the slack off of it. But like, the way that he explains it just shows that he's not a fucking gun guy.
No, so
They epically failed.
here's where the Democrats really fail, because obviously they have been prepping Walls Balls and Cackle and Kamala on firearms, since it's become kind of a contested issue, right? But the problem is that the people that are advising them are probably also liberal Democrats, so they don't know anything about guns. So that they tell Kamala, when you go on to 60 Minutes, just tell them you own a Glock.
On a Glock.
Just tell them you own a Glock.
I've never heard anybody ever in my life say, "Oh, I own a Glock."
No.
I hear Glock 17, Glock 19,
Glock 45, Glock 21, Glock 23. Yeah.
Whatever the case is.
Well, it was funny. So Patrick Bet David on Valuetainment the other day was like, I related to this. It's like, if you ask me what kind of truck I drive or what kind of car I drive, and I say Ford, okay, what kind of Ford do you drive? Like, nobody says I drive a Ford or I drive a Chevy. Or, you drive a F-150 or a Focus or whatever, whatever the car is. You don't.
I know.
When
I'm
somebody
like,
says what kind of gun do you own, like,
well, I just got a brand new Chevy. So when people ask me what do you drive, and I say, oh, I drive a Chevy Silverado Custom.
yeah,
because that's what I bought. Like, if I say I bought a Chevy, they're like, okay,
yeah.
what kind of Chevy do you own?
The
Like,
only person, like, I guess I could maybe get away with it because I drive a Ram, and so if I said a Ram, like, you would know that at least it was a truck, right? Like, yeah, I'm not going to be driving a Ram minivan.
well, if you said I drive a Silverado, it's a truck too. But the thing is like, like,
Well,
if
Ram's
you're
its own
saying,
brand now outside of Dodge, so that's why
yeah,
I said that.
yeah, but it's the way that she said it and the way that she's like looking around, and then she was like,
Glock.
Of course, I've shot it before. I mean, at a range. No, she said a shooting range.
A shooting range. And then
It's like,
they're telling Walz,
come
well,
on.
let's get a video of you out hunting. Didn't ask the guy if he's ever shot the fucking gun before. Man.
Oh, he said he's owned it for a long time.
Have you ever
His
shot it
Beretta.
though? Yeah, your Beretta.
His Beretta.
Speaking of items in the Second Amendment, do you love how all my transitions tonight have been speaking of? I didn't intentionally put them in this order, but speaking of Second Amendment, we got some big news this week. If you want the full rundowns on these, because this is just our hot takes on news, you can watch Jared over at Guns and Gadgets or Mark at Four Boxes Diner, and they do a great rundown on what we're talking about here. But about a month and a half ago, I believe it was, the Supreme Court approved Maryland for a 30-day extension to submit their brief on their quote-unquote assault weapons ban. So that was coming up due this week. And on Saturday, Maryland had asked for, or sorry, I believe it was Thursday, Maryland had asked for another 30-day extension, which everybody knew was so that it went into November and
waited for the election.
Yep, and the judges would have not had enough time to take it up on the docket for this cycle, which means it would have gotten pushed to 2025 when times would have been more favorable. So Maryland submits this request. Second Amendment Foundation, our friends, said,
no,
I don't fucking think so. You've written briefs on this before. Like, this isn't your first time. You've done it in multiple appeals courts, and like you know what you want to write here. This is a workaround. They basically told the Supreme Court like that this is what they're trying to do. So on Saturday, a rare Saturday, Chief Justice Roberts is the one that is in charge of these. I believe it's that's the 4th district. Said, nah, fam, we ain't doing that. Which is not only a blow to Maryland, saying they don't have another 30 days, but it's also a very positive sign that the judges look to be inclined to take up this case, this cycle. Because if they weren't inclined to do so, they would have just given them the 30-day extension, right? Why not? If you have zero intention of taking it up this cycle, might as well give them an extension.
Yep.
So this is good. This might be the thing that we've all been waiting for, which is the Supreme Court finally saying yes or no to quote unquote assault weapon bans. So
Well, it's like the FRT triggers too. They asked for 60 days, they got their 60 days, and now they're asking for another 30 days.
because they don't know who to get them back to.
Yeah, and the court said, no, fuck no.
You're the one that fucking took these things.
Yeah, well, they gave them a 30 days, and then
Yeah.
they extended it to 60 days, and they asked for another 30 days, and the court's like, no.
You don't know who you took these from? Like,
Yeah, like,
this should be
it's not
easy.
happening.
Drive around in your little van and take them to people. What
Yeah,
are you
hand
talking about?
hand them bitches back gift wrap with a $100 fucking thank you card.
Right? Exactly. So this is good news. Good news out of the Supreme Court. Last bit of news we have today is Jacqueline Kamala has agreed to sit down with Brett Baer from Fox News.
I just don't know if Brett Baer is the right person to do this interview.
I think he will be the most fair for sure.
That's the problem.
No, but Brett Baer is pretty good when he does interviews of pushing the buttons. He's very stern. He's not going to take bullshit answers. He's sophisticated in what he's doing. I mean, he's done, I believe he's done debates before. And I think she was never going to sit down with Hannity or Kayleigh McEnany or Jesse Waters, or he was never going to do, or Judge Jeanine, or even Greg Gutfeld, right? Like, that was never going to happen.
But see, that's such a bitch move because Trump goes to the fucking fire.
I agree. I'm just saying she was never going to do it. I completely agree that she should do it, but she was never going to do it. So if what we get is Brett Baer, I'll take it.
I just don't trust Brett Baer. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I know it looks good, and I know everybody's excited about it. I just don't think he's going to give the hard questions. I think he's going to let her have her scapegoats, and he's not going to push back on it. That's what I think. But we'll see.
We'll make a side bet. All fair.
We'll see. I hope that he's hardcore on her, but I think that they've already given her all the questions, and she's wrote down all the answers.
No way. No fucking way.
I don't trust Fox.
You think that they would have railed against all of these other news organizations doing that, and then they would do it themselves? They would lose all credibility.
They're
the top-ranked news network on air right now. They would never jeopardize that.
I know that everybody here thinks that Fox is like a conservative news outlet, and it's not.
Well,
it's just not a.
I don't. So I know who's Fox is owned by. I know the brothers and blah blah blah. I know all of that. However, you cannot say that they are not a conservative-leaning news organization. I mean, they are.
I'm not saying that, but I also don't think that. I don't think that they're the. I just don't see them. Okay, it's like this. Remember when Biden and Trump did a debate and it was on Fox?
Mm-hmm.
Everything was a push on fucking Trump. Even on that one. He got ramsacked.
I didn't feel that way on that debate. I
did. The guy now is working for fucking CNN.
I think that it was pretty straight down the middle. Look, I'm not trying to defend Fox News. They've done some stuff that obviously I am not happy about. But I don't think there's any way in hell that they give her the questions ahead of time.
I hope you're right. I hope that my conspiracy theory brain on this is totally fucking wrong. I really do. But we'll see. And I just don't think that Brett Baer is the guy for it.
But
You know what
he's
I
the
mean?
only guy for it.
Well, he's the only guy because he's the only one that's going to be easier on her enough to where I think that
Well,
that's why they went for him.
I would put it this way. He's the only one that doesn't have an extreme what do you call it? Allegiance to something. Like, we all know, we watch Jesse Waters. We know where he goes. We know we listen to Hannity. We know where he goes. Brett Baer's the only one that doesn't have like one of those shows where he's constantly doing something like that. So I don't know. I'm interested in it. I hope you're wrong. I really
I hope
do.
I'm wrong too. I really do too.
I just don't. I don't see any way that it ever happens.
I'm telling you, if he does not push back on her bullshit, it is bad for the Republicans.
Yes, big time. I'll be the first one. I'll come on here the episode after it happens and say I was wrong. Fuck you, Fox News. You just fucked us. Like, I will bow down.
Because that is an October surprise if they let her spout whatever she wants to spout without fucking checking her on it.
I just don't see it happening. I don't.
I hope you're right. I really do. I hope you're right. Because she's gotten away with everything so far on every single fucking interview. They just let her fucking roll right through.
Yeah.
And I don't think she is not the type of person. She can't give a speech. She can't do an interview without a fucking teleprompter.
No. And I mean, I think she's doing it.
Or without them just editing everything.
I think she's doing it because she's scared. The polls are not looking hot, which we're going to get into here in a little bit. But things are not looking so hot right now. And I think she's grasping at straws. I don't know.
We'll see. I hope you're right. I honestly do say I hope you are right.
Me too.
But maybe Brett Baer will pull one out, but I'm just not impressed with Brett Baer, and I have never been impressed with him. He tilts left on a lot of shit that I just do not agree with him.
You think so? I don't get that at all. Maybe that's why we have such a different. I don't see him tilting left at all.
He was super hardcore pro-Ukraine for fucking
but so we're a
year and a half.
That doesn't mean that's not means you're left. There was a lot of freaking people on the right still in Congress that are pro-Ukraine and pro the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, and I don't agree with those Republicans either.
Right. I'm not saying I'm not saying that I agree with his stance, but I would not call that a left-leaning stance at all. That's just a misguided principles that we disagree with some of the Republicans on too.
Yeah, I think that Brett Baer can be bought. So I'm going to leave it at that.
You're shocking me, Don Welch. You're shocking me.
Yeah, here. I do. I think that he can be bought. But I like I said, I hope that I am fucking dramatically wrong and I could come on here and say, John, you are right. Look at Brett Baer. He fucking did justice and asked the hard questions.
Don.
So
I have my faults. A lot of them. Being wrong, it's not one of them. Dude,
that's a good conversation. I think that our listeners will probably enjoy that little conversation right there. So
oh man. All right. Well, it is time for trigger warning. So, in transparency, I've already triggered Don with this subject prior to us coming on.
I was like, hey, hold up, motherfucker.
He started debating me before the show even started, and I was not trying to even get into it. So, recent polling, and I'm going to pull up some of the recent polling here. Recent polling is showing Senator from Texas Ted Cruz against Colin Allred is getting pretty tight. Latest polls today, Cruz +3, 2 days ago +2, uh, 5 days ago +3. A very, very tight race, according to the polls from Senator Ted Cruz. This is a guy that was polling actually,
+5.
yeah, polling +5, +6, +7. Also did that against Beto O'Rourke the last time. Won that obviously, but good old Beto was probably not the right candidate. But the
Beto is the greatest loser of all fucking
he
time.
is, he is.
What a clown.
But the word on the street now is that the Republicans are scared. So I thought, what better opportunity than to ask a Texan about a Texan? Don Welch, is Ted Cruz going to lose this fucking election?
Okay, so let me break it down for you guys. I think that if Republicans think that there's going to be a red wave, we are making a dramatic fucking mistake, and it doesn't make a difference what state you live in, first and foremost. If you do not go out and fucking vote, we will lose. I mean, that's point blank simple. There is no doubt about that. No doubt about it. I try to talk to people at my job all the time. I'm like, dude, you need to get registered to vote. Now your time's up. I fucking hope you register to vote. And if you've registered to vote, like, I'll be the first person to drive your happy ass to the fucking booth. You know what I mean? Let me just get that, out the way. Allred is a fucking radical, an absolute radical. He's very calm and demeanored compared to Beto, but he's a fucking radical. Now, I just want to I want to say this with this other part here. When Beto and him were going at each other, they said the same things. Oh, Beto is going to win. They also said Beto was going to win against, Governor Abbott, and I think Governor Abbott ended up winning by like 12 points. So, now I think the last Senate race with him was very, very close. I think that Ted Cruz, I think he ended up winning by like, I want to say it was like by like 2 points. So the state is very weird. Okay. So the part of San Antonio that I live in, I have never seen a sign for Allred at all. Not one sign. Uh, I also will say this. I hardly see any signs for Ted Cruz. Hardly any signs. There'll be a few, but I've never seen any for Allred. I have never seen. Now, if you go outside and you go to Bernie, you go to New Braunfels, anywhere in Comal County, Bandera, all of that stuff, you'll see Ted Cruz signs for sure because it's the outskirts of the city. But in the city, I have never seen an Allred sign once. So now Austin, I think I'll just give you what I think. I think that Austin's going to be 46%. Believe it or not, there are a lot of Republicans on the outside of downtown that are still in Austin. But I think it'll probably be about 46% of the vote will probably go to Ted Cruz, and I think that clearly Allred will win that city by a pretty decent margin. You know what I mean? Like pretty decent, not nothing crazy. He's not winning by 8 points or anything like that. I think Houston. I think right on the outskirts of the city. I think that it's probably going to be very similar to. I think it's going to be very similar to Austin. I think in Dallas, I think that Ted Cruz will probably win Dallas. I think that Ted Cruz will definitely win the Tri-County area without a doubt. With Fort Worth, like there's no way in hell Allred will win that. I think the whole rest of the state, the vast majority will be Ted Cruz. but I do think it's going to be a close race, and I don't think it's going to be 2 points, but I think that he will probably win by 4, and I think that Trump will probably end up helping that out. Trump will win Texas. If I had to guess, Trump will win Texas by 7. And I know that's not a huge number, but you guys got to think Texas is massive. It's huge. And
Yeah.
we have millions of Californians that have moved here since 2019. Like, literally, like, I'm talking over a million people from California alone here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we've probably had a couple 100,000 from New York and other liberal cities here. But I do think that Trump will win by 6.5 to 7, and I think that Ted Cruz will win by 4. But that all depends on you guys in Texas. But I do think that Republicans should be scared, because if they're not, then they don't go out and vote, and then you have a 2022 red wave all over again, and we're gonna go home crying, and you're gonna be shooting yourself in the fucking foot because you didn't go out and vote.
I agree. I think, consensus out there is that the only way that Allred is able to win this is if he outperforms Kamala Harris, which is basically what you just said there with those percentages. If he does not outperform Kamala Harris, he doesn't get it.
Well, he asked that. He has to. There's not even close. Like, he's got to outdo Kamala Harris by 10 points.
Yeah,
to win.
I agree.
Maybe 12. 10 to 12 points he's got to outdo her by.
Yeah.
To have a chance. But I do think that this year is going to be who is going to show up to vote. I don't think that the voter turnout is going to be as high as it was in 2020.
You don't think so?
And
even though that was a
no.
COVID election year?
Nope, I don't think so.
I mean, it was the largest ever, so I'm not trying to dispute that.
I don't think so. I think that there's a lot of people who don't fucking like either one of them, and they're not motivated enough to get out. I don't think a lot. I think that there's Democrats that aren't motivated to get out. I think that there's Republicans who aren't motivated to get out, and it's going to matter who just shows up, and that's it. I don't think this is an election that is going to. I don't think this election has anything to do with who people really think is going to be the better person. Now, I have my own opinions on that, but I'm just speaking as a whole. I think what's going to matter is, did you rally your base up enough to get them to go out and vote? I think that's why Democrats are pulling the fucking commie Obama shit right now, trying to get people.
Do you think that that's what's causing this Cruz Allred tightening?
And Texas, yeah, because Texas is very much libertarians. Like, even the left, even the Democrats here, old school Democrats, are more libertarian leaning, and then the Republicans are very libertarian leaning too. And that's why I said, now libertarian conservatives will go out and vote for Trump, but they have to be fucking amped up enough to go. And I do think that Trump should have been in Texas more than what he was. I do. I think he should have done 2 or 3 rallies here in the last 3 months. I think that's what I think he should have done. Now, I understand why he didn't, because Texas is safe, but we have to think, if Trump's going to win, just looking at this from an outside in, right? You're going to want to make sure that you win the Senate,
mm-hmm.
and you're going to want to make sure that you win Congress, because even if you win the election, if you have your hands tied, it's not going to make any difference.
Agreed. So bottom line is, you think Ted Cruz wins by 4?
I think he wins by 4. Yeah.
You heard it, guys. Straight from a Texan. And if you want to know how he's a Texan, it's because he'll tell you.
I knew you were gonna say that. No, I think he's gonna win. I think he'll win by 4. Um, I know a shit ton of Republicans that are pissed off that they didn't fucking go register to vote, and then the problem with Texas is so big that
Mhm.
people move all the fucking time, and then they don't change their IDs, and then they can't drive 7 hours to go back to their other home in Texas to go vote.
You know what's funny though? That just shows how much people don't give a fuck. It was one of the first things I did when I moved back to Pennsylvania from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I texted you that right away. I was like, change my voter registration. Boom.
Yeah. I mean, me too. When we moved here, and I moved in the same city, but I mean, when I moved, I still changed it. Well, one because I have a fucking concealed carry license, and you have to by law in the state of Texas. Um, but no way Kamala wins Texas.
No.
No Democrat is going to win Texas probably in the next. Okay, if things keep leaning the way that they are, and Democrats keep picking up pace, keep picking up pace, and more fucking commies keep moving to Texas, it's going to take 20 years, and then it will be blue. And then once Texas is lost, it's lost forever. You ain't never getting it back.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Now, that's why so many Texans are pissed off, and that's why you fucking every which way you go, you see the come and take it's and don't mess with Texas, don't California my Texas. I mean, that's all over even fucking Democrats in the state of Texas hate fucking Californians.
Doesn't everybody?
We just fucking hate Californians altogether. So, that's just is what it is. Like, I mean, they might as well be, the fucking Chinese communist government to us.
Well, that's a good segue, Don, into our real pre-election night coverage. Boom, 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 boom. This is not the watch list.
It is not the watch
It
list.
is not the watch list. So what Don and I are going to do here for y'all is we are going to go through the electoral map. It is, for the most part, pre-filled out, thanks to 270towin.com. And we have left 7 shaded or unshaded, I guess I should say, states that are the quote-unquote battleground states. And Don and I are going to run through them. I have left the preliminary electoral counts off the screen here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pick how we think these swing states go, with the exception of Nevada, since it's the furthest west that the Republicans have a chance in. And we'll see where it leaves this electoral vote count at.
Plus, I don't think Nevada comes in until what, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning our time.
No.
Right.
Polls close there at 8, so it'll be
No, but I'm
10
talking.
here.
I'm talking by the time they usually get final vote.
It'll be
there.
around midnight, like that. We'll know what's going on there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm thinking 2020, where we didn't know shit for fucking 10 days.
So let's pull up this map here. All right, there we go. We got the map here, and as you can see, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Nevada are the strictly battleground states here. Just running through a few things prior to us making our picks here. Obviously, let's go from left to right, west to east here. We know California, Oregon, Washington, zero chance that any of those states go Republican. Zero.
Yeah, zero.
Including Hawaii out there as well. And
Is that even a state?
Yeah. And then when you look at the heartland, obviously there is a 0% chance that states like North Dakota, South Dakota, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and none of those states are voting Democrat. So that's why these things are already filled in. I feel pretty comfortable with how they're already filled in. I don't think we have a chance in any of those states.
Not one of them. Not one of them do you have a chance of losing in. I'm just even if it's considered lean. I mean, by definition, they say anything that's lean is less than, what is it, 15 points.
Yep,
So, I mean, bro, Ohio is gonna easily win by 10 points. So
I definitely agree with that. So we're going to go through these states here, and we are going to take a look at where we think we are going to end up at. So, Don, do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
All right. So let's start in the bottom of the country here in the state of Georgia.
I think that Trump is going to win Georgia, not as big as what people think. I don't think he's going to win by 5. I'm going to say that he is going to win by 3.5 points.
Okay.
That's what I think.
All right. So we will put that as a lean red. Moving up, this is going to actually, let's save that one for last. Let's go up to Wisconsin.
I think that Trump is going to win Wisconsin, and it's going to be by less than a point.
So that is definitely a lean right there.
It is going to be super, super lean. There's a couple things that are going to depend on that. So,
all right. So we've got Georgia and Wisconsin going for Donald Trump. Moving across to the Great Lakes in Michigan.
Unfortunately, I think that will probably go to Kamala Harris. And I think it's going to be barely. I think it's going to be by less than a point, too.
All right, there we go. All right, we are sending that one to Kamala Harris. Moving over to the state I currently reside in, Pennsylvania.
I think that Trump wins by 2 points.
Trump wins by 2 points in Pennsylvania. Don Welch coming in strong in my state. I like it.
I think that there's a lot of Trump supporters out there that nobody's thinking about. And I think in the polls I already saw he was up by 0.01, not even by a full point, but usually they undervalue him anywhere from 3 to 4 points in the state of Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
That's what they
I agree.
typically have done. So I think by just showing that bare minimum, I think he wins by 2.
All right. Now, moving down to a very interesting state because of what has transpired recently, North Carolina.
This is definitely a toss-up state. I think that this one's more scarier than what people think Pennsylvania is because of the hurricane. But as long as they can go out to vote, I think that North Carolina will be very close. And I also think that it will be by a 1.5 Trump.
All right. So we have got a 1.5 to Trump's favor. I'm going to give you a guess. Where do you think we are at in the electoral total at this point? You have not decided Arizona or Nevada.
We are at 270.
You are at 280.
Yeah.
You have
we broke 270. We broke 270. We've called it.
So
now,
give me an Arizona and a Nevada, just so we can get your totals.
Okay. Arizona, Trump wins. Nevada, we will probably lose, but we're going to lose it by less than a point. Now, I want to say this. I do want to say this. There's a couple things. This could go a couple of different ways, and I have 2 guesses on this, but they're not good for us. If we lose Wisconsin, it puts the rings on us super, super tight. Okay? Now we can still win with Pennsylvania. However, here's the problem. If we happen to lose North Carolina, We're going to have to win Arizona, and we have to win Nevada. And it is very, very, very fucking scary times for Republicans. So Pennsylvania is a absolute dead fucking must win for us. And we can lose North Carolina if we win Wisconsin, but it's Wisconsin and North Carolina are what I will be watching on this map are two states and only two the whole night. And that will be North Carolina and Pennsylvania. And I think whoever wins those two states is going to win the election.
All right. Well, let's run through a different scenario here then, and do John's. So we're going to
Yep.
reset this map here. We will start down south in the state of Georgia. I believe that the state of Georgia will lean slightly Republican, leaving Trump with 16 more electoral votes. Heading up to Wisconsin, I believe Wisconsin leans to Kamala Harris. I believe that you were right in less than, I believe you called that one less than a half a point or less than a point. I will say Kamala Harris wins Wisconsin by less than 1 point. Moving over to Michigan, I believe that Kamala Harris, just like you, also takes the state of Michigan in a pretty contested 2 to 3 points. I believe is where that's going to end up at. Moving on to the state of Pennsylvania, I say that Trump wins the state of Pennsylvania based upon my own internal investigations here at the Liberty Goons, and I have driven across most of this state, and I have only seen a handful of those ugly light blue and white Harris Walz campaign signs. Moving down to North Carolina, man, Don, you couldn't be more right. This is freaking tough.
Mm-hmm.
This is really tough here. I am going to stick with the people of North Carolina, and I am going to say that they will lean towards the former president, Donald Trump.
By how much?
Less than 5 points. Less than 5 points.
Is it more than 2?
It could be right around 2.
That's. I think I said what 1.5.
Yeah.
I think is what I said.
I think it could be right around 2 points. This is such an unknown. It's so hard. If this Hurricane Helene was not a thing, I'd feel more
Trump all day.
Yeah, I mean, I would still put it as a lean because I think it still would be in and around the single digit points. Obviously,
Me too.
But I would feel a little bit more comfortable about it. We're not going to take a look at my total until we're totally done here. We already know where you were at. You were at a total
280.
You were at a total though of 291 electoral votes for Donald Trump.
Total. After we were done.
Yep. So going out to Arizona, I believe that Trump does take Arizona. Now, this is tricky. I'm not doing the math in my head. That's too much to keep up with. So that leaves us with Nevada, like we talked about. The states that I will be looking at during this election night, Don said North Carolina and Pennsylvania. I will be looking at Nevada and Pennsylvania. And I believe that Donald Trump loses the state of Nevada.
Mm-hmm. Which puts him, I think, at 274 if I'm doing the math right.
Let's see. I'll wait for this machine to catch up to me here. So you think it's 274?
I think.
Not sure where this leaves us up. Let's scroll up here. 281 to 257. So
okay.
Don and I both have said that Donald Trump wins this election. Both of us in different manners. Don said a Republican win in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona. I said a Democratic win in Wisconsin, Minnesota, or sorry, Michigan and Nevada.
Well, here's the thing. If Trump wins Pennsylvania and North Carolina and he can hold all the other states, right?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't need Arizona nor Nevada to win.
Correct. You already had him at a win prior to Arizona or Nevada.
Which would be at 271, right? Now, if he wins Wisconsin,
You were at two.
and he went,
Yes, you were at 270.
if he went, yeah, 271. If he wins Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, it's over with.
Sorry, you were at 270.
Huh?
You were at 270 prior to Arizona and Nevada.
Correct. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So if he wins, no, we were at 281. We finished at 291.
Yeah, you're
before Arizona.
right. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
280. My bad.
280.
Apologize,
280. So if he wins Wisconsin, what is that? 10 points? Is that what Wisconsin is? I can't see. from
10.
here.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. If he wins Wisconsin and he wins Pennsylvania, it's a wrap.
Yes.
He's gonna win.
Yes.
He's gonna win. The reason why I think it's so important, if he loses Wisconsin, which he very well might, that's the only out of all of these that I mentioned, okay, the ones I'm most uncertain about, if I had to guess, is Wisconsin and North Carolina. Those are the ones I'm most uncertain about. Everything else, I'm pretty damn near positive. Now, the reason why I said if we lose Wisconsin, that I'm paying attention to Pennsylvania and North Carolina, because that's his only path.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go back on what I said. I am going to say that the only state that I will be paying attention to closely, because I am nervous about it, is North Carolina. And if I had to throw a second one in there, I think Don and I both will be shifting our attention to North Carolina and Pennsylvania.
Yes.
I think that that road to victory is very, very clear with a Pennsylvania and North Carolina win, because even if you do not add in Arizona in here and you take it away, that still gives Donald Trump 270 and electoral win.
Correct. Yes, and it's just enough to get over the fucking hump, and then more. Like I said, if he happens to lose North Carolina, okay, so take North Carolina out real quick. Okay, so if you take North Carolina, go ahead and put it for Kamala Harris. This is where it gets tricky.
All right.
Okay, that's 278 right there.
Yep.
Now change Arizona to being conservative, because it's going to be conservative, right? That's the one thing I'm for sure of. So go ahead and change that over there. That's 265 to 267. Now what becomes the last state?
Nevada.
And that's what I'm terrified of.
Yep.
That's right there is the reason why I am watching
However,
North Carolina.
This is a very tough one, Don. And I agree that this scenario would be a fucking nightmare for us, because that would mean a Harris win in Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina. That would be a lot. She is currently not up in any of those polls. Currently not up in any of those polls. However, that what you just laid out there, Don, and what we have up here on this map will be an absolute nail biter and zero sleep for Don and John, because we will not be calling this fucking election until probably, like you said, midnight, 1:00 in the morning, if not later.
Yeah, and we will be clenching our assholes fucking tight, because we are about to get raped by the fucking government if that happens.
Yep.
So, I mean, that is so scary. Now, can we win Nevada? Yes.
Yes.
We can. Depending, depending if Republican turnout happens. And that's why I keep saying what matters in this election is fucking turnout. And I think it matters more for turnout than any other election because I don't think that Democrats are going to turn out for Democrats like they did. Though those college kids that fucking went and voted for Joe Biden the first time, I work with those kids now, right? They're, entry level sales representatives at the place that I work at. They're all basically voting for Trump. They all voted for Biden and now they're all voting for Trump. And they are going to go vote. So I see the mind shift. And the reason why they went and voted for it is because they thought that they were going to get their college loans paid for. Now they realize that that's not happening and not possible. They're going into the workforce. They're realizing how expensive shit is. They understand inflation. And they also understand, like, holy fuck, I'm paying so much money in taxes. My apartment's fucking expensive. And how the fuck am I going to make it? So, this is what I'm saying. I think the election actually this time matters so much more about the youth on their turnout for young Republicans than I do anybody else.
Do you see a scenario where Donald Trump loses Pennsylvania and North Carolina and still grabs the nomination?
Yeah, he has to win Wisconsin,
Well,
Arizona,
yes.
and Nevada.
Yeah. Do you think that that's a possibility? Do you think he can handle losing Pennsylvania and North Carolina? Given that you and I on our initial ballots before we had this worst case scenario up here had Michigan going to Trump by multiple percentage points, or going to Harris by multiple percentage points.
Yeah, I think he has to win Wisconsin, which I do think. Okay, like I said, I think that that's very wish. I think it's wishful thinking, but I also, I don't.
See,
I think Kamala Harris is wishful thinking to win Wisconsin too, and it is definitely a 50-50 state. It is very, very much a 50-50 state. And the only way that he can win, turn that blue, the only way that he can win that is
he can't in this way. He cannot lose North Carolina and Pennsylvania and Michigan and lose this and win this game.
So he can't. So he has to win North Carolina. Hit him on North Carolina. Okay, now it's split, and guess what?
If he wins North Carolina,
now he can win it.
Yep.
So he can. Here's the thing. Yeah, but you also have him winning. Oh no, okay, I see. That's the only other option for him. Now, I will say this. The only way that Kamala Harris can win is she has to clean the Rust Belt. Because go ahead and give her Wisconsin real quick.
Real quick, as soon as this catches up here.
Okay.
She wins Wisconsin. She wins Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And
so then that's what I'm saying.
She automatically wins.
So that is her. If she wins the Rust Belt, she automatically wins. So for her, the biggest states are ding, ding, ding. Okay. If she loses one, her biggest worry is going to be North Carolina and Arizona. Those are going to be her biggest worries. So she has two big worries too, which both of us, it all comes down, and this is why I said everybody's focusing on Pennsylvania, which I agree, Pennsylvania is scary, but the big one is going to be North Carolina at the end of the day. And I think, North Carolina and Pennsylvania for both sides,
Yep.
it is almost a must win. Both parties have to win Pennsylvania, and if one of them splits the ticket, hopefully Trump wins Pennsylvania and loses North Carolina. Now split that. Let's see if Trump wins Pennsylvania. Here's where it gets crazy. Okay,
And doesn't win North Carolina.
and doesn't win North Carolina.
This is
Now
the same. That's the scenario we were
and
looking at before.
and then we go back to Nevada. That's the scary situation, and that's the reason why I will be focused on Pennsylvania and North Carolina all night long. And I guarantee you, the three states that the Democrats are going to be paying attention to are going to be Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and fucking Nevada. Now, if Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania, their whole focus is going to be immediately on Nevada. Immediately.
Let's take a look at a different scenario here where Harris wins Wisconsin and Michigan, like we have here. Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania and North Carolina. Harris wins Georgia.
Ooh.
And now it's the opposite way. So it was 265 to 267. Now this shows it 267 to 265, with Nevada still being the final
The
key
tie.
player.
And that's why I keep saying the three biggest states are going to be Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and the last state is going to be Nevada. Now, the most important states clearly, that's why everybody's paying attention to Georgia, but we're pretty sure that Georgia is wrapped up by Republicans. But let's say it's not, it's still going to bounce back to Nevada, which we have already said, and vice versa. Anything else changes, then you're paying attention to North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and then still Nevada all over again.
Yes.
So those are your three big key states that you have to be paying attention to. Now, if Trump wins Nevada, he wins Pennsylvania, he wins North Carolina, and or let's say, I mean, it doesn't make a difference. At the end of the night, unless Trump can win, if Trump wins Georgia and Trump wins North Carolina and wins Pennsylvania, forget about it.
That's a night. Yeah.
It's a night. It's a night. And here's the thing. We're probably more than likely we're going to get one of these scenarios. One of the scenarios
we just played out there is going to be the winning scenario, whether it be for Harris or Donald Trump.
Now, Trump has a slightly more advantage of more ways to win.
Yes.
Slightly. But these states are so, like, you're talking about like nail biters for every single state. Even Michigan is still going to be a nail biter. And if the Muslims don't turn out to vote, guess what? Democrats can still lose Michigan.
Yes.
Can still lose Michigan.
Now, if we get a clean sweep here, like some are predicting,
okay. As much as I want that, no chance it happens.
So let's take a look at this. I believe this might be one of the largest wins ever in history. That would be 312 to 226. It would be an absolute shellacking.
Yeah, but now take out Nevada, and then you're down to 306.
This website's really great, except for when you need it to be. There you go.
Then you're at 306. And that's a more likely thing that would end up happening. I still think that Trump wins Wisconsin, barely more. And I know that everybody says that Michigan and Pennsylvania are typically closer to each other, right? They always say they vote the closest together. I don't think it happens this election. I think that we're in a different time, different world. Wisconsin has a lot more of rural areas, and uh, I think that their pockets are probably hurting a lot more. And I think that Wisconsin, you get a good Republican turnout, and I think that you get by, and I think that they win by 2 points.
Pennsylvania comes down to where my pointer's at right there, and my pointer's at right there.
Hmm.
Philadelphia and Pittsburgh.
Yes. Now, if there's low turnout in Pennsylvania or in Philadelphia, there's low turnout in Philadelphia, Trump wins. And he probably wins by more than 1.5.
Yes, yes. If there's low turnout in either Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, Trump easily wins the state of
But
Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh is more conservative than Philly is.
In the outer reaches of it, yes. The city itself, no. But my parents live just north of there, and it's obviously a predominantly, they live in Butler, like we've talked about before, which is a predominantly Trump voting and conservative area. Same with the area where I live in. Same with the area in the entire middle of the state. Really comes down to um, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and also we've talked about it here before too. Hotly contested Senate race that we would really love to flip here with Bob Casey Jr., the incumbent Democratic senator from the state of Pennsylvania, facing a very tough battle against David McCormick.
Yeah, that's going to be rough. And the other one that we're paying attention to is the Wyoming one, which is like we absolutely have to win that one.
Yes,
And that's with Sheehy, or how do you say his name?
Sheehy.
Sheehy. Yeah, that one is huge. Huge matters. Now, I will say this, North Carolina. Um, I think that you guys should be voting conservative across the board, even for your governor. I know there's a bunch of weird shit that's out there saying that, the Republican pick has done all these crazy things. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I've heard that there's been hackings. We already know that the Iranian government has hacked Trump's campaign. We know that they've hacked other campaigns, and Russia's hacked campaigns. And as much as you guys keep saying that Trump and Putin are friends, I can assure you that Trump and Putin are fucking far beyond fucking friends.
Just
Uh,
clarification: Montana, not Wyoming.
I'm sorry, Montana, Montana. Uh, and but I will say that I think that North Carolina's governor is probably going to turn blue, but I urge all of you North Carolinians to go out and vote conservative for a conservative governor, because who has been out there helping you guys? It has been a conservative, the lieutenant, what's the guy's name? He's also a Second Amendment guy. It's what's the guy's name?
I'm
Lieutenant.
blanking on it right now.
Hold on. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank either. Um,
Just to give an update, she is up anywhere between 7 and 8 points in the state of Montana over Tester.
Mark Robinson.
Yes.
So now Mark Robinson he was up in the polls, and now he's losing in the polls. And I would highly urge you guys to. Now, do I think that Trump's going to do? I don't know. I really hope that North Carolina gets a conservative governor, because you guys desperately need it. But I think that's an important race
It
for the state
is.
of North Carolina.
It is.
Uh, I have my own personal beliefs and reasonings for that. I think that state's going to need a whole lot of fucking help, and I don't think that any Democrat is going to fucking help you one fucking bit.
Right now, poll as of a few days ago, 7 days ago, Robinson is down 15 points.
Yeah. So that's a dramatic, dramatic turnaround.
Hmm.
Um, and that's crazy. So we'll see where it goes with that one. More than likely he's going to lose, but I urge you Republicans to go out and vote for that man. You know, I don't believe what they're saying in the news. I know that they said it came from his email. I just he said that it was his email was hacked. I believe the guy. I just do. You know Now I could be completely wrong, but for whatever reason, I believe the dude. I think that he means well, and I think that he wants to do good for his country. Now I will say this: I think that the Democrats are going to have another big blow up problem. Uh, there is information that is coming out that is about to drop. And if it does drop and they do file the lawsuit case, I think that it kills the Democrat
Are
Party.
you talking about Tim Walz?
And I am talking about Tim
I
Walz.
don't. Should we breach that subject or let it play its way out?
Well, we can tell them what it is. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, just to bring everybody up to speed, it's mainly been a Twitter sphere kind of thing that's going around. Doc, aka the Black Surrectionist, was contacted by a man that claims that he was sexually abused by vice presidential candidate Tim Walz when he was, I believe, 14 years old
yeah.
at a Indigo Girls concert and proceeded to have a multiple year sexual relationship with Walz. Um,
As a
he's
14-year-old boy,
Yeah.
guys, a 14-year-old boy.
There's right now all we have is email exchanges between the Black insurrectionist and this boy, now a man, I guess I should say, who today said it was dropped that he is going to consider, as Don mentioned, legal action against Tim Walz. So Don, I think you were right. I didn't know you were going to go there at all. I was not going to, but I'm kind of glad you did. If this is a big if, this could all be kind of crap. I don't know how I feel yet. If this is true, it's disaster.
It's 100% disaster. It is that October surprise that everybody's always worried about, and it is a absolute fucking disaster. Now, I will say this: there's all types of ex-football players that have came out and called him Tim Dusk or Tim Dusky, with the whole Sandusky whole
Hmm.
shit. There's like football players on his previous teams that have called him Tim Dusky. He also was never the head coach of his high school's football team. He was the assistant coach, and he was also kicked out of that school by the school board.
Yeah, supposedly he and his wife were both forced to resign. The Black insurrectionist posted the meeting minutes from that school board meeting. Um,
Mm.
so, yeah, there's a lot of information. Nothing that
And it wasn't for him being a bad football coach is why he got fired.
no,
So it was definitely students coming in saying that he was I don't want to say the word on here,
yeah,
but that's 100% a fact on that part, where that actually happened. Now, did this other stuff, did that happen? Is the guy going to come out? More than likely it probably did happen, but it doesn't make a difference unless he comes out. He's going to have to say his name, and I feel bad for the guy,
yes.
and I would be nervous for him too, because that Democrats are going to fucking burn you and sacrifice you at the stake.
If he
Now,
comes out alive,
if he comes out alive. Now, I would be very, very, very nervous, and I'm sure he's already nervous because the information's already been leaked out, and Tim Walz probably already know who the guy is,
hmm
and they're probably already have shit fucking trying to pin this guy down and find him. Very likely that something probably happens to this guy, which makes me think that if he doesn't come out now and say who he is, and put a lawsuit in, man, he is going to be living the rest of his life scared shitless.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
he's already made the mistake where he said something, and now I honestly think he's got to, or I would be more nervous if I was him by not saying anything now than trying to hide.
yeah, you might as well go full bore with it now.
Because no matter what, it is going to be a scary time for you, brother, but at least people would be looking over your shoulder for you, to where if you never come out and say your name, no one knows who you are. So nobody's going to be looking over your shoulder at all, period, now.
Yep.
And if you come out and you say it, the chances of them doing anything are going to be a lot slimmer, and you probably won't end up dead somewhere. But if that's where my brain is on it. I don't know if you feel the same way that I do, but that's kind of where my brain is.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're I think you're spot on, man. I think that uh I don't know. We're gonna have to let this one play itself out too. Um
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't. We're not here to give conspiracy theories that are going on online, but it does seem like that he knew quite a bit, and obviously the accusations were true about him getting removed from the schools, and the accusations, like I said, I don't want to say on here what it was for, but he got accusations, and the school said, yeah, buddy, nah, you can't be at this school anymore because of students.
mhm.
So I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to get into any more detail because I don't want us to get removed off of YouTube, but you guys can easily go look it up. All that information is there, and it has been validated.
Yep. Yep, exactly. So we'll see what comes from all of this. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. Don't know what's gonna happen here. But I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I am too. I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff that's, this is the from here to fucking, November the 4th is anything could fucking happen.
Anything could happen.
And like I said, in this election, what's going to matter, Bubba? Voter turnout.
Voter turnout, man.
And voter turnout meaning Democrats aren't enthused, they don't come out and vote. Republicans are enthused, they come out and vote. And I will say the one good thing about it is we have more registered Republicans now than we ever had, and we are beating them on the registration game, which
Yep.
gives me lots of hope. But I don't like giving the false hope, because I thought for sure we were going to smoke them in 2022 for Congress and Senate, and we just did not have turnout.
Yep.
People thought the problem is that Republicans get the word overzealous, and they said, "Oh, we got this in the bag. I don't
Mhm.
even need to go out and vote." And then they don't vote, and then you lose, and you wonder what the fuck just happened. Well, you didn't go out and vote. And I think that Republicans do themselves a disservice when they let their foot off the gas and say, we got this.
I agree.
I don't think that we should ever be saying we got this, because, the less enthused people are, the less likely they are to go out and vote, and that enthusiasm fucking matters.
It's always got to be full bore, foot on the gas pedal, no compromise, get shit done.
Especially if you're a Second Amendment guy, and I just want to say, like, I am so man, just not proud of the Second Amendment community for 11 million of you guys not being registered to vote.
I know it was
I
almost
hope
embarrassing to share that photo from GOA the other day.
Bro, it is so embarrassing to all of you dumbasses that think that your vote doesn't matter. That's 11 fucking million of you out there choosing not to vote. If 11 million of you decided that you were going to, that if 11 million of you registered to go vote and voted for your Second Amendment, we would win the election. And not only would we win the election, but every congressional person, every single person in Congress, and every single person in the Senate would be hardcore pro Second Amendment people, because then you would have voted during, your, what is it, not midterms, your primaries, and you would have voted people in like Brandon Herrera. And that's why I'm so sick of this shit, because Brandon Herrera barely lost, but none of you guys wanted to come out and vote. And you guys only vote for presidential elections, or you don't vote at all. 11 million of you fuckers. And that's the problem, and that's why they keep stripping away your Second Amendment. So hopefully you fucktards have registered to vote and you go out and vote. I don't know if there's any other, is there any state right now in America where you can still register to vote? Is there
I
any?
don't think so. I think maybe Pennsylvania for 2 more days, I think.
Well, if you live in fucking Pennsylvania, get off your fucking fat ass, you 2A wannabe patriot, and fucking register to vote, because this is it, fellas. This is it. You we lose this election, we're fucked. As a gun owner, you are highly fucked.
Yes. Yes, the deadline in Pennsylvania is October 21st.
Get off your fat fucking potato ass. You wannabe patriot fucking gun owner, and register to vote.
There's
You
no
have,
excuse. 6 days.
especially in Pennsylvania. And let's, just out of curiosity, how many people in Pennsylvania
I
can we
believe
pull up?
300,000.
300,000 of you. This is a landslide in Pennsylvania. 300,000 of you people have not registered to vote as a gun owner. Get off your ass right now before the 20th and go register to vote. That is a landslide fucking victory for your 2A rights if you go out and fucking vote. Okay, so register to vote. Go vote for fucking Donald Trump. I don't give a fuck if you don't like the guy or not. He's the only person that is not a threat to your Second Amendment right now. The only person that's not a threat. Okay? Get off your fat ass. Go register to vote. And let's win fucking Pennsylvania by a fucking landslide.
Amen. Also, all of you gun owners, I don't want to see any of you bitching at me as I start shredding up the woods in central Pennsylvania at the new 2A Patriot Ranch. Done. I signed the deal today.
Woo! Give my boy a round of a hand, man. 2A Patriot Ranch is back.
2A Patriot Ranch is back. We have 24 acres in central Pennsylvania, just outside of State College, in the boondocks. Beautiful land. I sent Don a video of a 350-yard straight shot already cleared. Woo! We're going to do some hunting too, buddy. We're going to do some hunting. Man.
That just gives me an excuse to come up there.
Yes. And I haven't signed this deal yet, but it's going to get signed this week. The new 2A Patriot Ranch corporate offices are going to be above this sick-ass old school movie theater with the marquee sign out front and everything. Freaking awesome, with the Susquehanna River like a block away. Oh, we're moving up in the world, Don Welch. We are moving up in the world.
I can't wait, man. I'm excited for you.
Well,
I'm excited for me because that just means a free way to escape and go on.
Right.
And get a bigger deer, hopefully, than what we got down here in Texas.
Yeah, we'll get you some bear, maybe some mountain lion.
Man, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Anyway, shout out to our sponsor, 2A Watches. Appreciate you guys. Get your bling bling at 2awatchcompany.com. Special thanks to every single person that has donated so far to the Liberty Goons Hurricane Relief Fund that goes in direct support of Samaritan's Purse. It is open right now. There will be a link down below leading up to election night. Our goal is $10,000, and we are going to get there because of y'all, and we are going to support the people of North Carolina, Tennessee, and Florida. So
Amen to that.
thank you guys so much. Don, you got any additional shout outs for us this week?
Yeah, man, I do actually. So every single person that is a gun owner that has registered to vote, shout out to you for doing your due diligence to the American Constitution. All right. So shout out to you if you took any of our messaging or somebody else's messaging that has said, hey, you know what, we got 11 million gun owners that haven't registered to vote, and you went and registered to vote. Shout out to you. Now go and do God's will and protect our Constitution. So,
Amen to that, buddy.
shout out to you. I know I've harped on you guys, but for the people that have, seriously, as a gun owner, I am grateful that you have done that. Now, also shout out to every single person that has been helping every single person out in North Carolina, and South Carolina, bits of parts of South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, all of that, and Florida as well. I just want to come back and reiterate this, guys. This is the most important election because this is, if we don't win this, this is the last election. Conservatism will be dead forever because there is going to be, 20 million illegals that will be able to register to vote. And at that point in time, your vote no longer matters. And we will never win another election again. And this will be socialism mixed with communism, and you will lose all of your constitutional rights.
Amen to that. Couldn't have said it any better. That guy that just dropped those words of wisdom, that is Don Welch. I am John from 2A Patriot Ranch. We are the motherfucking Liberty Goons, and we are out.